All right, it's another Saturday here, part of my job. Today we are replacing valves on this engine, and if you want to know why, and that is a bent valve right there. The reason why you want to replace it, or we're replacing this valve, if it's bent like this, it's supposed to be perfectly straight, but you see when I'm turning it, it's bent pretty bad. We're replacing all 16 valves on it. Sometimes you can see, you know, a lot of the Fords, they say like 24 valves or 16 valves on the badge as well. This is the valves that they're talking about. This is, I think this is that an intake or the exhaust valve?
These are exhaust.
These are the exhaust valves. So these go up and down to release the exhaust on one side, and it goes up and down over here to let air into the other side. And then the spark plugs go in the middle here. So you have air, fuel, and spark, which ignites, which is an explosion. And after the explosion, you're gonna have exhaust. So that's why this port opens up and lets the exhaust out. So that is why we're replacing the exhaust valve once again. This is it's a lot of work, and if you guys ever want to learn how to replace one, we just got another one out. So Addison will take one out now.
Alright, so if you have a valve tool and it can't fit in your head, what you can always do is you can take a socket. Right here I have a 17 millimeter. Anything that's going to fit on the circumference of the top of the valve, and you can take it and grind a hole in the side. You can see it's missing there. That can be an access hole to take the valve retaining clips out. Right here's your fancy valve spring compressed tool. And sometimes they come with the straight jaw or the curved jaw. Well, in our case, the curved jaw wasn't enough to get the valves out. So I had to basically put an extension on it. And if you want to wait just a second, you can see me actually use it. So I'm going to take this, set it in the jaws, put it on top of the valve. Make sure the hole's facing where I can get the clips out. Then I'm going to squeeze the handle down here, and it's going to compress the valve. Now I can take my little pick. I'm also using a magnet, and I can push the little things out. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a pain. Sometimes it comes out first try, but I think this time hold on, you got your two little retaining clips. They're just like little half moons. They go on the top of the valve, right here where the little indent is. Pretty simple. You know what you're doing.
And you probably don't want to lose that because no one's gonna sell that at an auto parts store locally. The dealer will probably even have to special order that. So it's gonna delay 2-3 days if you lose that part.
Like that. There's your valve spring. Here's the top of the valve spring. Right in this little hole is where those clips go. They'll just slide, you just slide them right in there. But if you have the valve through it, you can actually see better. These clips are just gonna go right on top of it like that. You have both of them on each side, and they'll hold it in there nice and tight. So that's a little example of how it works. Now if you have bent valves, they might be a little hard to get out. So what I'm using is a 2-foot extender, and I'm just tapping right on the top of them until they slide out. They can be a little pain when they get real bent like that. In this case, the timing chain was completely snapped, so they really did some damage.
Yeah, that's bent. All 16 are bent pretty bad. That was a little tutorial on that. Now getting them in is going to be the exact opposite of that. It's going to take a while to do that too. And then but yeah, we're replacing everything on there. The head gasket, all the gaskets, everything has to come off. The whole top of the motor has to come off. It's not a job that you want to do, especially you don't want to do it twice.
We're also replacing the valve stem seals. I also recommend to anyone, if you're ever replacing a valve, make sure you go ahead and do the valve stem seals, because the new valves will be a different size They can cause, you know, oil to get past it into the combustion chamber, and then you'll be burning a lot of oil. Your oil level will go low. You may not even notice it. It's just, you know, highly recommended that you do that, especially if you're already in there. I think the valves, stem seals are only a couple bucks, so it's definitely worth the money.
Where are the valves, the new valve stems?
They're under the hood of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's probably locked up. All right, so we'll go out to the car right now. Alright, the hood light's a little bit messed up. It's the whole kit. Hold on.
Ooh.
I got it right here.
Oh, these are the valve stem seals. I'm going to show those. Bring it into the shade. Yeah.
To be honest, man, I don't think anyone's gonna want to watch this video all the way through.
Hey, if you put it on YouTube and someone has a Mazda,
Yeah.
and they need to see how to do valves, be a lifesaver.
Yeah, because this one, see this one, how it's slanted the way it is, this one's really difficult to do. You'll have to use the setup that we did. So I know a lot of people are gonna probably look it up to do that. So you'll have to get that spring clamp tool and you will have to use a socket. I mean, that's pretty genius right there. But a lot of the engines you don't have to do that because it's not.
All right, so right here is our valve stem seals. Really simple. All you're gonna do is pry the old ones off. They're in here. They kind of slide over like a shaft. Like imagine, you know, my pinky being the shaft, and you're just gonna kind of seat them on there like that. Take a nice big socket or a tool that they sell, and you're just gonna hammer them on there and make sure they're nice and tight. And that will fix everything. If you can see here that these valves are gonna just slide right in there like that, and that would be the new seat. The oil seals it from getting past that into the combustion chamber. So this is what I was talking about earlier, the valve stem seals.
And in comparison, here's a new valve. You see how it's not bent at all, and here's the old valve behind it, and that's a huge difference. Huge difference.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this one was really bad. One of the worst ones I've seen in a while.
Alright, so we'll put this video on YouTube in case anyone's doing replacing valves on their Mazda. It's actually a pretty common engine. This is a Mazda CX-7 2.3 liter turbo, and a lot of Fords have this engine as well. So I'm sure, you know, these motors have timing chain problems. I'm sure there's a lot of engines with bent valves over there. A lot of people opt to just replace the engine. We went to just rebuilding it like this, just because it's going to be cheaper for the customer. It's a lot more work, but you know, we're going to try to help out in every way we can. So hopefully this video will be beneficial to others out there with the same problem.